This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, here we are, Shanan and I. Shanan, you look kind of green over there.
I do. I look green, but I've been doing this long enough. I shouldn't be green. It's not easy being green. Maybe it's because it's all this green around me.
Well,
it's not easy being green.
It's not easy being green.
Kermit the Frog told you that.
All right, well. Well, welcome today to another edition of Straight Talk with your true Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and my sidekick and co-host Shanan
Batman
Jones. You know, Shanan, boy, I tell you, Shanan, we are living in some real difficult, challenging times.
Don't talk about the election.
I'm going to say it again. We're living in some real difficult and challenging times. And I just hope that the people that are watching us and that they're sharing this program to their families and their friends. And we ask you to share it.
Please share
it. Like it. Make comments. And Miss C says subscribe. And listen, we need for you to do that. Like. I'm going to do like Miss C said. Like, subscribe, make comments, and share. Do it the Miss C way. But listen, we need you to do that because this information that we are giving is really valuable information, and especially share it with your young people. Sit down. Do like Mama and them used to do. Sit down somewhere and listen. And sit down. Yeah, sit down somewhere and listen and teach them and teach them and let them understand what is at stake, the real thing that is at stake. You know, we run around, we focus on making a lot of money. We focus on getting popularity. We focus on all the things of this that we think that's important to other folks that make us feel good about us because we're impressing other folks. But listen, what Mama and them used to do, we need to do. Sit down at the table, start talking and telling our young people what is important. And guess I'm going to say something else, Shanan. Start doing a little discipline. Don't let them tell you, say, well, I don't want to hear that. No, you're going to sit down and you're going to listen to what I have to say. You're going to sit down and listen. You may not appreciate it now, but guess what? You'll appreciate it later on because you're going to be faced with dealing with the things that we're dealing with now if you don't get hold to what's happening. And I'm very proud, very proud, and I know you are too, of the individuals, the young people that voted.
I am.
I mean, they registered, voted, and they actually voted.
They voted, yeah. I'm happy about that. I'm concerned about the 3 million people in Georgia that did not vote.
Well, you know, we're always going to have some people going to register to vote, and then they're going to say, well, my vote don't count. It doesn't matter. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. Well, they do what you let them do because you don't vote. And then if you don't hold people accountable who you did elect, or even if you didn't vote for them, you still hold those people who sit in those seats. You hold them accountable.
You know what I had a problem with?
What?
I had a problem with folks that kept telling me, well, I just don't agree with anybody.
Oh, no.
I'm not voting because I don't agree with anybody.
Right.
And my thing is like, what you have to do, it's like if you work in a company and you're in a meeting. Well, you might not agree with everybody 100%. But if you have an agenda, right, or you have some things that are important to you, then you find the folks in the meeting that you feel can what?
Go along with what you're going along with.
And you can kind of support what they're trying to say.
The commonality,
exactly,
find the common ground.
Exactly. So in the election, you're looking for the candidate that you feel, who could I talk to about my issues?
Right.
Which one of these would really address, you know, I don't hear them talking about X, Y, and Z. But which one of these candidates can I go to and talk to about X, Y, and Z? All right? I don't agree with them 100%, you know, but I really feel that I could bring my concerns to this person, and this person would give me an ear perhaps, or would listen to me in a sense and be able to at least hear what I'm saying and address what it is that's important to me. And I think that was a very clear case. That's very clear in this election. But folks say, well, look, I don't hear them talking about, you know, the issue that is important to me, so I'm not going to vote. So you give another community
your voice,
and your vote and your power.
That's right, you do.
And then they go and get it, and then you sit around talking about, man, what's going on? What's going on is you forfeited your vote to someone else. And when you forfeit, you lose. And the winner, it's a contest.
It is a contest.
It's a contest. And so why would you sit back and just forfeit your future? Forfeit your economic destiny, forfeit your health destiny. Why would you sit back and just do that?
And leave money on the table
and
for somebody.
Leave money on the table
for somebody else to talk about how you spend your money. To take to the
north end or go somewhere else,
right,
and do what they want to do with their agenda. And then come back and strengthen them in such a way that they can come back and further take your abilities to vote. Make it harder for you because they shot themselves in the foot, talking about the Republicans.
Right.
Because they used to win by mail-in ballots.
Right.
That was their thing.
That was their
thing.
They
used to kill by that.
That was their thing.
So now
absentee ballots was their thing.
Now that they got folks saying if you're not voting in person, if you're not then you're not American, or they're stealing your. So now they forfeited that. But in order to win, they came back and did some other thing because they had the power.
Right.
See, at the end of the day, you and I, we can sit on this mic, scream, protest. We've been down there. They sit and listen to you, and then the majority what?
They vote against the wishes of the people and vote their own agenda.
And pick they've studied it in such a way that now they pick their voters.
Right, they do.
So so now go back to that meeting I started with. When you sitting in a meeting, you trying to see who can you work with to push your agenda. If you don't have an agenda, you are the agenda.
Let me just stop you there and say this, and then we'll go to Miss C. I think and you make a very valid point. One of the things that I think that people fail to realize, they sit there and they listen to these commercials, and we were inundated with commercials this last election.
God.
Every time you turn around, it was the same commercial over and over again, and the repetitiveness of the commercial, and people just got tired of seeing the same thing and hearing the same thing. And so a lot of people are saying, I don't know who to vote for because I don't know which way to go, because the issues were lost in the commercials. The issues were lost in the commercial because the issue became about a person and a personality, not about the things that they were looking to do for the economy. Now, I'm going to share this, we'll come back and talk about Miss Lake, who's running for governor in Arizona. Right? Ms. Lake is only talking about spending more of the taxpayers' money in her state.
In Arizona.
In Arizona, yes. In Arizona, she's talking about spending more money, and this is what she's wanting to spend the money on. Not on education.
Nope.
Not on those things that are important for the citizens in Arizona, in the state. Talking about fighting Biden if he comes in, or FBI comes in, and she's going to have her state patrol locking them up, federal officers. I want to see that happen.
Deny.
I want to see that happen. You're going to tell your state troopers to go and lock up federal officers and put them in jail. I really want to see that happen. but she want to spend more taxpayer money.
I want to hear that. But just pause on what you just said.
Okay.
See, this is the stupidity of this stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to have some state troopers
to lock up FBI agent,
arrest an FBI agent.
And people think that she's going to be able to have the power
and
to
people
do that.
think that she can do that.
Yeah, right, okay. She'll be.
And they going to vote because she going to do that. Oh, I'm going to arrest the president.
Oh, yeah.
When the president come to town, I'm going to arrest him.
Yeah. He can't come in our state. Yeah,
and the Marines and Delta Force and everything, they just gonna stand by and let Billy Bob and them come on Air Force One, and they just gonna be sitting back. Please finish what you're saying.
I mean, really, come on. But people are in the hype. And then this is what Ms. Lake said. Ms. Lake said, she said this, and they always want to talk about Georgia. No, we talking about some other states, right? Because now what we're saying is, she's saying, oh, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And we're going to lock them up. And this is the big kicker. The big kicker is, she said, as soon as I'm elected, we're going to look at the votes that was in 2020, and we're going to find out was it a fraudulent election. Well, Mr. Trump sent in his people that he had paid to check to make sure that the election was fixed, and they couldn't find anything wrong. Now she's going to spend taxpayers' money to go back and try to find out what they couldn't find out in 2020, which we're now in 2022, and they spend billions and millions of dollars trying to do it 3 times now. 3 times they tried to prove that the election was fixed in Arizona. 3 times they spent taxpayers' money doing that, and she wants to get elected and spend more taxpayer money about trying to prove that Trump won Arizona. Isn't that ludicrous?
So while she's doing that, who's going to be setting the budget?
Well, she's going to be setting the budget.
Who's going to be setting the budget for the state of Arizona?
She's going to be setting the budget.
Who's going to be signing legislation into law?
While
she's trying to be a federal police officer on something that's already been decided. This lady is raising money, literally, to be an election denier.
An election denier.
And so all of this MAGA election denying stuff that they continue to keep perpetuating, while the party of their choosing, has already said they are moving on. Trump is trying to come here to Georgia to announce that he's going to run for president. You lost it for them big in 2020, and you didn't do so good the other night. And they recognize now that your day is over. It's Ron DeSantis's party.
Well, we're gonna talk more about that after this with Miss C. Hey, Miss C.
See you, Miss C.
Miss C here. Hey, Greg. Hey, Shannon. Hope everyone's doing well. Listen, our own Bishop Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Liberty International Door of Hope Ministries wants to help grandparents out this holiday season with toys, children's clothes, and other gift items. If you would like to donate new clothes, new toys, new gift items, please call the church at 404-753-7546. That's 404-753-7546. Liberty International Door of Hope Ministries is located at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. Again, you can call them at 404-753-7546. Our own Bishop Greg Fann, the preacher man, is pastor. Flipper Temple AME Church at 580 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard is celebrating its 102nd church anniversary on November 20th at 10:45 a.m. We were delayed in celebrating our 100th anniversary because of COVID. And so now we're celebrating 102 years. Bringing the anniversary message will be Bishop Adam J. Richardson of Florida. Bishop Richardson is a son of the church. And Flipper Temple is located at 580 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard in Southwest Atlanta. You can call us at 404-522-5020 to get more information, or go online to www.flippertempleame.com. Reverend Gregory Vaughn Eason Sr. is the pastor. The holidays are here. I got on my, my daughter told me I look like a big candy cane. Anyway, the holidays are here, and I'm asking everybody to do something nice for someone else. Do something nice for a senior or an elderly relative that you may know. And it could be somebody that you don't know. You could call up the senior living facilities or the nursing homes and, just find out who you can visit, or, and I'm also asking you to make something for them. There is nothing that's more dear than something that somebody took some time to make. And I know my dearest gifts that I've received have been something that someone made. And it says a lot, and you can visit them, visit the elderly person or a relative, and just ask them, is there anything I could do for you while I'm here? You don't know what a difference that would make. And listen, if you'd like for us to announce anything that you're involved in, your church or organization, email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362 1362@gmail.com. And listen, I have those 4 things that I want you to do for me. I want you to like us, subscribe to us, and those buttons are right there on your screen if you've not already done so. Leave us a comment and then share us with people you know and let them in on the big secret of Straight Talk News. Well, that's going to do it for this time. We'll see you next time.
Fierce, love the hair. Amen. Amen. Miss C.
Her daughter, Moro Chanel, told her, "You look like a candy cane, Mom." She's in the Christmas spirit. She's in the holiday spirit. And listen, we asking you to really help us out, though. You know, we having a real crisis. And when we talk about real issues, this politics and everything, we have a lot of senior citizens who are parents, grandparents, that are now placed in a position to raise their grandkids. And for some circumstances, it may have been their parent died, the kid's parent died. It may be they on drugs, or they may be in prison, any number of things. But now they're having to have raised their kids. Now they're having to raise their grandkids, and they're now senior citizens, and they don't have the money or the resources to take care of their grandkids. And so we're asking you to help us during this holiday season to provide for these grandparents and help give them support to help their grandkids so that they could have a happy and joyous Christmas. So we're asking for clothes. We're asking that you donate toys. We're having grandparents outreach hands. That's the name of the organization. Sister Linda Sanders is in charge of that organization and have been working with grandparents all these many years, but she's asking Liberty and other churches to help her in her effort in supporting grandparents during this time, this Christmas season. So if you can, if the Lord touch your heart, if you can buy a coat, some T-shirts, socks, those kinds of things that kids need, sweaters, they would need for the winter. You know, I'm reminded, Shanan, when I come up Christmas time, oh man, we got toys. But one thing that our parents really made sure that we had long johns, socks, corduroy pants, hats.
Corduroy
pants.
They did that in your generation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I used to hate them things.
I love
Could
them.
you play hide and go seek with that?
No, you can hide and seek.
I can hear you over there.
Make her play hide and go seek, but you sure be warm. But we asking you to help us. And the number is up down the screen. Call us at 447-675-46. That's 447-5-675-46. And thank you so very, very much. And of course, we're gonna have a part 2 of this special segment.
Yes.
And next week, and Miss C will be back with more information.
Part 2.
But we want to get Shanan. We want to.
So don't think we don't change our clothes.
No, we do change our clothes. We're just gonna have a part 1. This is part 1.
Part 1. We're gonna have part 2.
We'll have part 2.
All right.
And let's get back to this this election.
Yeah.
And you know, as we have traveled the state of Georgia, and we have looked and listened to people say like what you're saying, we don't know who to vote for. And we've seen something this year that has been a bigger trend than it has been in the past, where people split voted. Some people voted Republican, then Democrat, and some people voted Democrat, then Republican. So there's no clear people. Well, a lot of people still vote Democrat, a lot of people still vote Republican, but there is that group that's out there that's independents. Right. And let's talk about the Libertarian too. We don't leave Libertarians out in this discussion, right? Yeah, we want to talk about them too. But there are a group of people that are splitting their vote between Republican and Democrat because they are looking and listening to the candidate. Are you talking about the issue that's dear to me? Not about the party. See, you know, I mean, I've been a long time since I've been saying this for a while. I need a Democrat and a Republican. I need a Libertarian. I vote for who is really working, I believe, in the best interest of myself, my family, my church members, and those people who I represent, because all of us represent somebody.
Right.
Yeah. And so we need to elect people who will represent the interests of our constituents. And so that's how I vote. And now we have this thing, another party that's a smaller party, and we've seen that smaller party do it in the election with the U.S. Senate race with Senator Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker.
Herschel Jr. Walker.
Herschel Jr. Walker. And we saw that happening in this senatorial race because the Libertarian got in there and split the vote enough to cause that percentage where neither one of them could get 51%.
Yeah.
And we saw Libertarians running in every race. Now, this is the first time in Georgia that I can recall, well, because they tried the Tea Party and all these other parties, but it looked like the Libertarians is gaining ground because in the most important race in the state of Georgia, it was at this time, in my opinion, was the U.S. Senate race, right? That was the most important race. So they were able to wedge the way in there and find a candidate that could throw them in a runoff, the Libertarian Party. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do it in the governor's race. They didn't do it in any other race but the U.S. Senate race, right? So we see the Libertarian Party seeing that they have an opportunity to throw races in a runoff, and they're gaining ground. Ross Perot, and we'll talk about that. You know, when Ross Perot ran for president, he ran as a what? A Republican.
Ran as a Republican, then he switched over to an independent.
Independent. They saw how that worked, right?
19% of the vote, I think it was,
right.
in the
At that time. Right, so they saw how that worked. Mm-hmm. So now what they're doing is they say, okay, we have a Libertarian Party, and we're going to start pushing our agenda. So they're working on having that third party, a place for people to go, because you have Republicans who are saying now, we don't have any place to go. You heard Tim Duncan say that. Yeah. You heard Mr. Black, who was the Agriculture Commissioner. You heard him say that. We don't have any place to go. Where do we go? Because we're not with this Republican Party, and we're not with this Democratic Party. Yeah. So where do we go now? So the Libertarian Party is now offering themselves as an option, and we see that they're gaining ground.
Yeah, and I think all parties have. So the two established parties, you know, the two main parties, I should say, Libertarians are now established as well, but you have extremes on both sides, and it would do everybody good to once in a while look at what's in the center and move more central and more moderate and more pragmatic and more common sense to move forward. And I think that,
I read that. It's the common sense.
Common sense.
Well, let me put it like this:
it's not
common sense ain't common to everybody.
Yeah. So we need to definitely do that, and I think all parties need to look at their messaging. There's a story on Kemp today, and we could probably talk about this in the second part too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But a story in the AJC that's talking about Kemp, how Kemp won, and it's a long article. And basically, all through it, what he did was he established a message, the economy. He tied his opponent to the present administration and showed where they were attacking and diluting the Georgia economy. That was his stride. Now, whether that's true or not, we know it not to be true. But he did that, and then he stayed on message. Created a message that connected with people. You hear Kemp, you go in the grocery store, you hear Kemp. You go get gas, you can hear Kemp. You understand? Now, on the other side, there's a lot of...
Don't forget that 350 he sent everybody. Yeah, not everybody.
Well, 350 to he
certain
sent out
people.
Certain people,
yeah,
TANF and other folks that received that. Right. And he put his name on it.
Right.
And that was federal funding.
Right.
That was for COVID relief, and that was held, and some of it went to police forces and all that kind of stuff. So these are all the kinds of things that he did. But what he did was he stayed on message, and we got to grab those bread and butter issues. Sometimes we're too smart for our own good, and you know, you come out of seminary, you call it cemetery,
yeah.
But they tell us in seminary now, when you go to certain places and you get to preaching, we're giving you all this theology. Sometimes you're going to get to giving them all that, and somebody going to yell out and say, make it plain, baby. because I don't understand. Make it plain, baby. 1992, Ross Perot jumped in there, tried to mess it up. He messed it up for Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush. He helped Clinton. And what Carville, the strategist, was saying is it's the economy, stupid. It's the economy. Stay on the economy and stay on message. And don't have too many messages. Just one message. It's like a good sermon. A sermon has one theme and one point and 3 subpoints to support that one point.
So stay on message. And that's a good thing right now, because we're going to stay on message, because what we're going to do is you'll hear more on part 2. We'll be back week after next, which will be the week of the 14th. We'll be on again, and we'll have more to talk about and more. And don't forget, early voting begins when? On the 14th, that Monday.
Yeah, but when you say we're going to be back on when?
Huh?
When you say we're going to be back?
We're going to be back on with part 2 next week.
And then after that, what we?
When we be back on after that, the following week, the Thanksgiving
week.
When
we're doing the contract negotiations.
Well, Shanan, contract negotiations.
I'm going to be saying when we're going to be back.
Let me tell you,
we got to negotiate.
Let's share what the
my agent said.
Let me talk
you
about
ain't calling back. My agent said you've been trying to reach you. You've been busy.
Let me just say this. Let me
doing
say
all
this.
the stuff you're doing.
Let me just say
we'll be back on the 14th.
Let me just say you about that.
I don't know about all this other stuff.
Let me tell you about that.
We in contract negotiations.
You remember when you said a year ago?
Well, you got a good memory, but you can't remember what I wanted in my contract.
Wait a minute, about 2 years ago.
You got a good memory.
Wait a minute, about 2 years ago, you said we were doing a program after the 20 election, right?
Yeah.
And of course, you was standing there watching Donald Trump packing up. They were packing up his stuff to leave the White House.
Yeah.
Well, that's your contract. But anyway, you stay tuned. You stay tuned to Nothing But Straight Talk. Well, you'll see us this Friday, and we'll be back on the 14th.
And if you have a moving company, you call me.
This ain't been nothing but what?
Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.